lines with Central Europe. The tiny Baltic republics were always the least Soviet and most Western part of the USSR. But the Soviet legacy is demographic. In Latvia's capital Riga, Russians are the majority. Through generations, they have kept alive the flame of their Eastern Slavic identity, the unchanging rhythms of their Russianness. But today, their ancient pride is under assault. The Russian Cultural Center is being evicted from its headquarters. The Latvian government has sold it to a commercial developer. Latvia's Russians feel they're being discarded. The vast majority of them are non-citizens and have no vote. Alex Rjavin was born here, but the law calls him an alien.
I'm a human being. I want to be man. I want to live in Latvia, to work for Latvia. It's terrible. I don't know what to do. You know that alien, it's monster. It's not human being.
Latvians are taking pride again in their identity. These are veterans of Hitler's SS. They joined the Latvian Legion to fight the Red Army. Many still fear the Russian presence here will swamp and destroy their tiny nation.
We will disappear like Prussia, like the other small nations. We will disappear from the earth. We love this country.
Latvia fought hard for its independence, and most of the ethnic Russians who live here and know only Latvia as their home supported it. Now they believe they're taking the blame for 40 years of Soviet occupation. In Riga's market, mutual resentment is visible and very audible. Latvians see the Russians as colonizers who finally got their comeuppance. Go back to where you came from, he says. There's plenty of room there. Look, she says, you can see for yourself. We're the enemy. Ever since Ivan the Terrible, he adds, whenever the Russians turn up, they bring cold and hunger. The Latvian government defends a citizenship law that excludes a third of the country's population.
I should say that our citizenship law, even now, is much more tolerant than a lot of citizenship law in a lot of European Union countries. Simply, we had this tough consequences after 50 years of occupation.
These women don't agree. They are Russian school teachers who are trying now to learn Latvian. They must sit an exam in September, and even though their pupils are Russian, not Latvian speaking, if they fail it, they'll be sacked. Their stress is palpable. Every day I panic when I forget my words, says Lyuba, who's an infant teacher. I keep waiting for them to fire me. I'm in a constant state of tension. Vera teaches biology.
Дело в том, что у меня умерла мама, а я к этому была не готова заради.
My mother died suddenly, she says. I couldn't leave Latvia on my old Soviet passport, so I couldn't get to her funeral. And her tears awaken the anxieties of her colleagues. They feel humiliated. There is something triumphalist in Latvia's exultant embrace of independence. Latvians are the masters of their own destiny at last, but there is self-righteousness in the air and the audible strains of ethnic supremacy. The oppressed, liberated, in turn oppress. Alan Little, BBC News, Riga.
He presses his hand against a window, and the words written on it tell a story worthy of a spy novel. The writing reveals how he was lured to Rome by Israeli secret agents, then drugged, kidnapped, and returned to Israel to face trial. Mordecai Vanunu's story begins here in the Negev desert, where he worked as a technician at an ultra-secret nuclear plant. He had become increasingly involved in peace protests and increasingly concerned about nuclear weapons. Earlier that autumn, he smuggled documents to London's Sunday Times. They included photographs which revealed that Israel had developed a large stockpile of nuclear weapons, as many as 200 warheads. The story made headlines around the world, and Mordecai Vanunu paid a severe price. For nearly 12 years, he's been held at this Israeli prison in total isolation. It's believed to be the longest term of solitary confinement in modern times. With 6 years remaining of his 18-year sentence, he's now eligible for a parole hearing. Mary and Nick Ioloff are peace activists from the United States who have been campaigning on his behalf. They visited him in jail the day before his hearing.
He's still convinced that what he had done was appropriate. He does not have any secrets to give away, has no secrets, and feels that he should not be kept in jail anymore. And I guess we really share that view, that he should be given his freedom because there's nothing he can do to harm the security of the state of Israel now.
Earlier, there were other visitors. On Sunday, 2 British members of Parliament arrived along with actress Susanna York, who heads a campaign to free him. They were turned away, but the London Times did manage to get an interview. He told the newspaper he had no regrets, saying, "I did what I did from a deep internal conviction, and I would do it again." For years, peace activists have campaigned for his release with concerts, petitions, and posters. But in spite of their efforts, many doubt Mordechai Vanunu will be granted parole. They believe he'll continue paying the price for speaking out about Israel's nuclear weapons program, a program Israel still won't acknowledge. Paul Kuziak, BBC News.